So let's take a look at our review for the order of operations test. This first problem, we begin with the parentheses first. We take 8 minus 4 is 4, and 14 divided by 7 is 2. The next step is to do the exponent. So this 4 is squared. That doesn't mean 4 times 2. It means 4 times 4. So we get 16. The last step is the addition. Gives us 18. Next problem, first step, the parentheses, 4 minus 10. This gives us a negative 6. Many people in the practice were squaring the 10 first. Notice the exponent 2 is outside of the parentheses. That's why we take 4 minus 10 first. So then we take negative 6 squared. This is not negative 6 times 2. It is negative 6 times negative 6. So it turns out to be a positive 36. The rest carries down. 10 minus 3 times this quantity plus 3. So I have addition, subtraction, and multiplication. The next thing I do is multiplication. 3 times 36 is 108. Some people are still doing addition before subtraction because they think, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, addition comes first. That's not actually true. Addition and subtraction happen at the same time. You go left to right. So first I take 10 minus 108. I get negative 98. And then I add 3 to this, and I get negative 92 as it brings it closer to 0. Next problem, parentheses first, 20 divided by 5 is 4. Then the exponent. 4 cubed does not mean 4 times 3. It means 4 times 4 times 4. So in this case, that's 64. Minus 10 times 6 plus 6. So I have subtraction, multiplication, and addition. The next thing is multiplication. That's why I take 64 minus 60 plus 6. And again, I go left to right at this step. I don't take 60 plus 6 first. So I go left to right. 64 minus 60 is 4, plus 6 is 10. A few more. 4 squared is 16. And underneath the radical, I can add together 23 plus 2 to get 25. When you take the square root of a number, you're asking what number times itself equals 25. And it turns out that's 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. So this becomes 16 minus 5, which is just 11. When we have fractions, there are actually invisible parentheses on the top and the bottom of those fractions. So I begin with the top here. I have subtraction or multiplication. Multiplication comes first, so it becomes, I'll write it over here, 12 minus 15 divided by 6 minus 2, because 3 times 5 is 15. When I subtract that, I end up with negative 3 over 4, which is my final answer. Halfway done. When people did this problem in the homework, or the practice, they forgot about this 7. They would do 8 minus 3 is 5, and they would carry on and say plus 64, and they would get the wrong answer because they forgot to multiply by 7. Remember, everything carries down. So 8 minus 3 gave us 5, and 8 squared gave us 64. What comes first, multiplication or addition? Multiplication does. So I get 35 plus 64, which is 99. Next problem, parentheses first. Within the parentheses, I have division or subtraction. Division comes first. 15 divided by 5 is 3. When I take 3 minus 2, I get 1. So this becomes 9 times 1 cubed minus 7. So I have multiplication, I have an exponent, and I have subtraction. The exponent comes first. 1 cubed is not 1 times 3. It's 1 times 1 times 1, which is just 1. So this becomes 9 times 1 minus 7, or 9 minus 7, which is just 2. Next one, parentheses first. Division comes before subtraction, so 9 divided by 3 is 3. And when I take away 3, I get 0. So it becomes 5 times 0 cubed minus 10. 0 times itself 3 times is just 0. When you multiply by 5, you get 0. So 0 minus 10 is a negative 10. 2 left. I start with the inner layer of parentheses. So 5 times 4 happens before the subtraction. So I get 20 minus 9. And 5 plus 1 is 6. So 20 minus 9 is 11. Multiplied by 6 minus 2 multiplied by 9. So I do the multiplication before I do the subtraction. 11 times 6 is 66, and 2 times 9 is 18. 66 minus 18 is 48. The last one had to do with absolute value. These brackets you treat just like parentheses. You do them first. So when you take 4 minus 12, you get a negative 8. So 5 minus the absolute value of negative 8. Remember, absolute value makes things come out positive. So this ends up being 5 minus 8, which is just negative 3.